Hello everybody, welcome to another one. Today I got another fantastic episode for Switch It Up Sunday. Today we're going to be playing Capcom Arcade Stadium 2 on the Nintendo Switch. Fantastic game, don't you love those Joy-Cons? Pretty awesome little Sonic the Hedgehog hoary Joy-Cons, I really like those. But today we're going to be playing the Capcom Arcade Stadium 2. Unfortunately, I got the physical, but it didn't come in. It got canceled from PlayAsia, so I'm gonna have to see if I can get the physical edition from somewhere else. So right now we're gonna be checking out the digital version, but without further ado, sit back and let's check it out. I'm gonna go over each game. Sun was the first time playing this game, so from my initial playthrough, I'm gonna give it a... It's hard to judge it now because it was probably more fun back in the day. But I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. It's a simplistic kind of side-scrolling shooter. You can shoot forwards or backwards, run through, collect different fruits and things like that. X-Dies, which is also named Savage Bees in the if you switch the region. I never played this back in the day, but I can say it's pretty fun. It's kind of simplistic, starts off pretty easy. I usually suck at shooters, but I can say that this game is not bad. It's actually kind of interesting, some of the later on when the level starts opening up and it gets a little bit more difficult, some of the bugs and things like that. Gunsmoke, really like the game, suck at it. I was good at the Nintendo NES version, but the arcade one, not so good. Pretty much I suck, but I really like the game. It's basically a shooter. You just kind of slowly traverse up the screen, and you can shoot left or right, up or to the sides with your both revolvers, to the left and right, like I'm doing. I found later on you can shoot straight on too. And as you can see, you can get little power-ups, like boots make you move faster. There's a power-up for your shooting. And you can get a horse, which adds extra armor. So it gives you one more shot to take before you die. Good game, has good end bosses. The Speedrunner. Interesting game. I thought it was going to be like Spy Hunter. But it's kind of more like Commando with a car. You kind of drive around in your car, shooting targets. And you can jump out of your car like that and shoot them on foot. So interesting game. I'm giving this one a 7.5 out of 10, maybe even an 8, because it's kind of interesting elements, and kind of reminds me of the arcade GTA. At least this part where you can get it out of the vehicle. So very interesting, and the graphics aren't bad for an old arcade game. And also you have to go rescuing hostages. I forgot to mention that. There's hostages being locked up on each level in different cages, so you free them and they give you either points when you save them, or they give you power-ups to your weapons and things like that. So pretty interesting game. Sidearms Hyperdyne Sidearms, really good game. I really like this game. I'll start off off the bat and say 8 out of 10. Right off the bat. Fun game. Another mech shooter. And it's pretty cool. The graphics are cool. I really like the enemies, the looks of them and things like that. And you can shoot forwards and backwards. And you get power-ups. Kind of the power-up system kind of reminds me of Gradius. And pretty interesting game. And the graphics are, for its time, were pretty good, I think. So pretty good game, and if you see me playing them a little bit longer in the and when I'm talking about them, that means they're pretty good. So I got a little more interested, but I wanted to show off a little bit of the level, more of the levels, if the game is really good. This is called Adventure. I have it set for the Japanese. I forget what it's called in Japan. But it's called Adventure, and it's a beat 'em up, an old school beat 'em up, and I'm giving this, I don't like it really, 5 out of 10. This one, I think it's clunky. Maybe it was good for its day, but to me Avengers is kind of mediocre, beat 'em up. So not so great. Maybe if I play it more I'll give it a little higher score, but not much higher than a 5 out of 10. But as you can see, kind of reminds me of actually some of the characters. I don't know why. Trojan, Black Tiger. Now Black Tiger is a side-scrolling hack and slash. These were quite popular back in the day in the arcades, and this one actually is pretty good. This one I'd probably give a 7.5 or 8 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10. Kind of it's got that Dungeons and Dragons feel to it. A lot of these hack and slashers, and this one's pretty cool because you get some cool weapons, cool upgrades, and the level design's pretty cool. You have to climb up these. You'll see these kind of towers, and jump from one tower to the next. And there's some pretty cool power-ups, pretty cool enemy designs. Really like this game. And you kind of got that, with the Ghosts and Goblins where you lose your armor thing going on. So pretty cool. Really like it. And we'll get on to the next one here in a second. I wanted to show off more of the level here, but trying to at least. I'm not great at this game, and I didn't know. Let's see here. Where's the fire coming from? Well, I guess it's coming from the booby trapped. And here is the original Street Fighter. Not a great game. Definitely Street Fighter 2 took it to a new level. You can only play Ryu or Ken, and it's a little bit clunkier, but it's still interesting to play this game. The reason why I like playing it still to this day is because it has some interesting enemies you have to fight, characters that you haven't seen in the rest of the series, and so it's interesting to go back and play it. Really, you only have the fireball and the hurricane kick. I don't believe there is the dragon punch. Tiger Road. This is a side-scrolling hack and slash. Pretty clunky. Reminds me of what is it? The Sega one. I can't think of it now. Axe something, Battle Axe, or I can't remember the name of it. But Golden Axe, sorry. But definitely not a great game. This is a very clunky Golden Axe at that. It hasn't aged well. Maybe it was good for its day. I don't remember even seeing this in an arcade. So I don't know if it was here or not. Didn't see it. 1943 Kai. Now I do like this game. This game is a lot of fun. It has some interesting things compared to 1942. The type of playing you get, of course, is pretty interesting. The power-ups and some of the enemy designs. This is basically changed up quite a bit, where it feels like a real fresh shooting type game. So pretty cool. I like this one. I'm giving this one a 8 out of 10. Maybe that's a little high on some people's list, but I grew up playing the 1940s series, and this one is a good one in the series. And the level design's great. I like the clouds, the islands down below. Music good, sound effects good. Enemies are pretty cool, challenging. Last Duel. Now, I never played this one actually till now. And what did I think of this one? This one reminds me of all things like a precursor to F-Zero. I don't know why. It doesn't have the speed of F-Zero. I guess it's the type of cars, the looks of them. But it moves very slow. You're just a car traversing through this level. I guess it's a powered up superpower car. And it has, like I said, it reminds me of F-Zero a little bit, but on a scale 1 to 10, I'm giving this one, it's kind of clunky, a 6 or a 7, 6.5, I'll say, 6.5 out of 10. LED Storm, or LED Storm, I guess you're calling it. It's an interesting game. Reminds me of Knight Rider. like a futuristic Knight Rider with a terrible voice. I don't know who the voice is. He's kind of annoying. But the game's kind of cool. Kind of reminds me of a futuristic bump and jump with some spy hunter elements in it. And you'll see why, if you ever played bump and jump, you can do that jump mechanic. But very interesting game. I'm gonna have to play more of this. And like I said, I never saw this one either, and I've seen a lot of games over the years in arcades, because we had some huge ones where I used to live. Because we used to live near a casino, and the casinos had some of the biggest arcades in the 80s for kids to go play. And like I said, you get some cool power-ups and things in this game, and just never saw it back in the day, so I don't know if it was ever got here. Magic Sword, my favorite game on this whole collection. I've always enjoyed Magic Sword. Climb the tower, you rescue prisoners, and the level design is great. The enemies are cool. Definitely people who played Dungeons and Dragons back in the day will love this game, because it's got definitely a Dungeons and Dragons feel to it, with some cool elements to it. And you rescue prisoners, and when you rescue them, they help aid you in battle until you rescue the next one, then you switch. And each character has different skill sets. There's a ninja, there's a wizard, there's some kind of big ogre dude. I forget what the other ones are. Someone with a crossbow. I don't remember how many there are. There's like 6 or 7, I believe. It's been a while since I've climbed the tower. But you do, like you say, you get a key, you unlock it. There's the big brute dude with the axe. And I believe this next one's going to be a crossbow, if I remember right. I kind of remember the doors in the first couple levels. I think she has crossbow. Yep. So, very cool game. Like I said, the graphics are very good, especially for its day. The sound effects, the music. Cool game. 3 Wonders has 3 games on it. It has like this block pushing game. And I think the other 2 is like a shooter. And I think the other one's a shooter also. This is basically the only one I like on the 3 Wonders. Oh, the other one's okay too. Not the block pushing one. But this is definitely the most graphical version, the best game on here, I believe. And it plays like a elven Ghosts and Goblins, as you can see, with a treasure chest, and they're coming up out of the ground. It's got a very feel to Ghosts and Goblins with it, with very polished, good-looking graphics. So a very cool game. Good sound effects, good music. All around a great game, and this is the 3 Wonders. The block pushing game on there. It's okay if you like those type of games. It's pretty good too. All 3 games are pretty good on this list that are in that collection. King of Dragons, very cool game. This one definitely is a Dungeons and Dragons feeling game. You get a wizard, a fighter, an elf, a cleric, and a dwarf. And it does play like the TSR Dungeons and Dragons game back in the day. Kind of reminds me of it exactly. And it's a very cool game. I remember playing this quite a bit back in the day in arcades. Because we were all playing those Dungeons and Dragon games, so to play it on the big screen or on the arcade was cool. So very cool game. I usually like taking the wizards. And I don't kill the rabbit. So as you can see, level design's good. And plenty of imagination, plenty of different enemies. So they did a fantastic job. I like that werewolf looking thing with a crossbow. It's pretty cool. So I'm giving this one, if I was rating, I haven't been lazy on rating some of these. 8 out of 10 for that one. Block. I'm not a fan of these games, this type of game. So for me, maybe it's other people tire. I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10. Usually these games use the old paddle, or they use the trackball. I think most of them use paddle, if I remember right, in the arcade. So, and since you're using this with a controller, it just doesn't feel right, for one thing. So definitely, yeah, 5 out of 10. Doesn't very interest me. It does have power-ups, and I'm sure there are some pretty cool levels. Knights of the Round, you can play as Lancelot, Arthur, or Percival. And very cool game. Like this game, also another hack and slasher. It plays just like the Dungeons and Dragons or the other games, like Golden Axe type game. These were popular back in the day, and it's just cool to play another one. Solid one, good graphics, great level design, good music, great enemy designs. Just a fun game all around to play. So definitely, if I'm rating this one, another 8 out of 10. Like I said, this collection is a pretty good collection. If you have the first one, and you definitely need to get the second one, because this one here, because it has basically all the leftovers of the games that were on the first one. Capcom's been doing a fantastic job with all these collections. Saturday Night Slam Masters, fantastic wrestling game, wrestling fighting game of all things, and it's got some characters in there from a couple of different genres you'll recognize. One's from Final Fight, but great game. Really love the graphics level, the fighting. I love wrestling games, so to get this one back in the day was really cool to play in arcades, because it was really graphically looking good. Played a lot different than other wrestling games because it's more of a fighting game, and they mixed the genres well, and I think it's one of the few, there was a sequel to it, but I mean it was one of the few games that played like this as a wrestling game. I don't think there were many others that played this type of fighting game style. So very cool, graphics are great, level design. I always play Stinger, which is the masked guy there. Echo Fighters or Echo Fighters, interesting game. I need to play more of it. You can kind of control that front cannon with your secondary stick, so you can control where it aims. It makes it challenging because you have to constantly move it around the stick and then shoot. So you're doing two things at once. And it's an interesting shooter. Graphics are great. Sound, levels pretty good. So I haven't played enough of it to give it a fair rating, but if I was giving it now, 7.5 or 8 out of 10, and I usually don't like shooters. So let me know if you played this, what you would rate it as. But it's a pretty interesting game, actually. And you're basically saving the earth from natural disasters, people polluting and doing different things, cutting down trees and all. So panikis, I think they call, or yeah, panikis, or I think it's what the game's called. But this plays like Puyo Puyo. It's their version, so pretty good game. I'm giving this one. I'm not a puzzle fighting type person, a puzzler. But I would give this one an 8 out of 10. I like it, actually. Pretty interesting. I think also this kind of plays like the old Pack Attack. Pack Attack did the same kind of move, where if you get a Pac-Man and a bunch of green things, it would eat them all up. So same thing, you need two stars or of one color, and then it breaks them all away. So there is some strategy involved here. And I thought they would fall on the other side, but I guess not. Now the Vampire Hunter series, Street Fighter, we've seen those on the Capcom fighting. Some of these ones there haven't been on there, but the Rockman Power Battle is classic. But if you didn't pick up those and you're going to pick up this, there's quite a few fighting games on here that are worth picking up too. The Rockman Power Battle is a great game. It's basically a boss attack game. And you kind of spin the dial randomly and you hit it to stop it where you want to fight. Hit the button and it'll land on the level. So this is Cutman, and as you can see, it's just a boss attack game, but it is pretty fun. The first one and second one, and the graphics are great, music's great. And when I first saw this back in the day in the arcade, I was blown away. So it's a good game. And I forgot what year this was released, but it was pretty graphical for its time. Capcom did a fantastic job with this game and the second one, and a lot of fun. I've played this quite a bit over the years. And when you beat a boss, just like regular Mega Man style, you can get their special weapon and use it to your advantage if you against certain enemies and so on. So pretty cool game. And now what do we got here? Street Fighter 02, Street Fighter Puzzle Fighter 2, Rockman 2, The Power Fighters, Vampire Savior, Capcom Sports Club, which got some. Actually, this is not bad. It's like NBA Jam without the boost mode. It's not bad. It's basically a less exciting NBA Jam game, but not bad for a Capcom game, for a Capcom basketball. So, giving this one I'm gonna give it a little higher score than usually I would, 7 out of 10. Just because it got some interesting games on there. Well, anyways, that is it for my list of the Capcom games. I didn't do any of the fighting games because everyone's played them all and they are on other collections that Capcom has released. Okay, so what do I think of the Capcom Arcade Stadium 2? Well, I think it's fantastic. It has some fantastic games on here. It has my favorite game, Magic Sword. It has Black Dragon. It has quite a few games that surprised me. I never played Leadstorm, never played Savage Bees, and I'm kind of enjoying those. Sidearms is classic, and it has a lot of the fighting games on here. It does have Street Fighter Alpha 1, 2, 3, the original Street Fighter, and it also has I think it is the Hyper Edition. And you can switch between the Japanese and American ROMs, so there are some differences there. And there's quite a few other little things you can do, online scores and things like that. So definitely, I think it's awesome and definitely worth picking up. Hopefully I can get the physical. Like I said, mine was canceled from PlayAsia, so I'm trying to hunt down the physical version now. But I can say it's definitely worth picking up. So anyways, that is it for this episode. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and as always, have a good one. Take care, everybody. Until next time.